Okay, I'm reloaded. I had to switch it up on y'all. What's up, everybody? How y'all feeling out there, man? Thank you so much for the support and for your love. I got to put that out in advance. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for tuning in. You already know who it is. If you don't know, Leo Wazir everybody. That's the name that I gave myself. As far as my government, y'all know how it is out there in the streets. We don't play with that. We don't put it out there. But if you know it, you don't gotta you don't gotta brag about it. You don't gotta name it. You don't gotta claim it. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no freestyle battle where we on URL smack or something. All right. If you want to use that against me and you want to pull me out, I'm an ill writer. So don't even test me on that level. I'm an ill writer. If you've been checking into my poetry, my freestyle poetry that I put up on my YouTube, you already know what time it is. I can come at you very intellectual. You may get a lot of you may get a lot of points off my name and try to put it in a funny way because, I mean, with all respect, though, I don't even feel that my government name really represents me. When you look at me, if I was to hand you a resume, or in fact, excuse me, I know that when my resume appear on the tables of some people who's doing, like, in charge of hiring, they be like, okay, this person seems eligible. Yada yada yada. They qualify for the position. I walk through the door with how I look, hair all out, flamed out. Pause. You know what I'm saying? They be like, "Whoa, I didn't expect you to be bearing this kind of name." But nevertheless, peace and love, everybody. Let's get right into it now. I'm in the vibe. I'm in the mood. I gotta give it to y'all, and I'm gonna start off like this. As I was talking with an elder, I bumped in to an elder. She was talking to someone right beside her. They were neighbors in one of the benches at the terminals, right here at the airport. So I just happened to butt in, like intellectually, because they was talking about some things that's taking place within humanity, and the lady referenced the Bible. So I said, well, let me jump in here and see if I can ask some relative questions pertaining to what she was talking about, which was when a man finds a woman, he cleave onto his wife, he leave the mother, he leaves the father, and she also touched on the importance of solitude, how a person, whether male or female, has to be solid. Basically, as I summed it all up, they have to be solid upon their square, knowing themselves and being sufficient in regards of finances, but also efficient. See, this is what I do. I don't try to use my intellect to bring people down. I want to add on to what you said. I want to add on to what you put out. I want to add on to whatever it is that you're leading up to, that you may even have a hunch upon, that's that's kind of like interesting or intriguing to me, so we can do what we got to do. And this is how we meet people along the way, along our journey. Nevertheless, I touched on some political subjects, in which, all in all, a lot of what we're dealing with is political. Okay, you got political science and many other fields that encompasses politics. Okay, there's nothing wrong with politics. I think what happened is, before I get into the meat into the video, that we don't really look up the word to know what it is and how to attach it to what we're dealing with. I'm talking in a general sense, because I know I'm not bugging out when I say this. That I know, because I became a victim of this too. That when we hear certain words and we hear the context, or we uh, try to understand the context in which it was used, we would regurgitate it in a way, or try to bring it about in the conversation in a way that was just similar to how we heard it. If you can follow what I'm saying, meaning that you may hear a word within a sentence, or if you're in a cipher and you don't really know the actual meaning of it and how to apply it within your rhetoric, that you would just hear it and just go ahead and say it somewhere else. In many cases, we always like to seem smart, intellectual, because it's a beautiful thing when you have knowledge. Knowledge reigns supreme. Knowledge is power. And we all have a knack, I would like to suspect or presume, that we all have a knack for gaining knowledge and wanting to be and sound smart. Hence myself. But I don't get big headed off of that. Because for those who have been following me for quite a while now, know that, and you can even go back and check out the videos, that when I use the word, I put it in a applicable context. I try my best, or do my best rather, to apply it in ways where it can be not only understood, but it can be understanding thus far. You feel me? Like, all right, let me get into this. I asked the lady, because I want y'all to think about this too. I said, "Can I ask you a question, lady?" I said, "How you doing, love? Good evening to you. Are you a Brooklyn native? Are you a true New Yorker?" She said, "Yes." I said, "All right, good. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Where you from?" She switched it up and said that she's from North Carolina. She was born in North Carolina, but she happened to become a true native because she served her time here in New York City. And I would like to say that, or rather think that, if you serve more than 10 to 20 years in New York City, you become a native. You become neutralized to this. You know what I mean? Although time is always fleeting, and time seems to be running by so fast nowadays, that it just happens like that, where it's like, I just happen to put it upon my own self to say, hey, you've been here 10 years, which means seems kind of elementary. You've been here for 10 years. Listen, you qualify, because that's a whole decade right there within itself, in which no matter if you're a teenager, or you are a young adult or an elder, within 10 years, you can surely soak up a whole lot. For the simple fact that time is running by pretty fast, and it seems like everyone is caught up in this YOLO effect. YOLO, you only live once, right? They get all adventurous or advantageous. They get very, uh, they become very compelling or impulsive, and they going over here, over there, and this is where we get all this duplicity. This is where we get all the running with the in crowd. And I can reference the Bible right now. That's the broad gate that is the Bible is talking about. Everybody going through the broad gate that leadeth on to destruction. Because it's a common thing, and it's just a revolution. It's not evolution. As I've said before, for those who have been following me, the root word of revolution is to revolve. We're revolving the same shit. We just put a new outfit on it, and we just going with it. Right? We give it a new name, just like how we do with the weed. You give weed a whole other name, but it's the same goddamn thing. Okay? Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so after I asked her about that, and we jumped right into it, I said, look, miss, I said, with all due respect, I know that as a teenager, stepping into your adolescence, and then on, that typically you end up in the armed forces, no matter which department of the armed forces. Hence, joining the armed forces, you have some discipline within your household, if you have, or whatever kind of teachings and rearings that you have within your household. That which you grew up with, learning in the streets, going to school, going to church, and maybe even some kind of like Boy Scout, Girl Scout program. I said, then you got those who go into the armed forces who put time in. Now, when you're a youngin, when you're a teenager and you're stepping into your adolescence, which I would have to put it in a bracket of the ages of between 16, I will give it 16 to about 24, 16 to 24. you start to come up within, if you can work your way up in the ranks, which is where you earn your stripes and stars as you move on to, you know, better, typically better things, right? You step up in the upper echelon, you're making your way up, all right? Because the armed forces, for one, teaches you about brotherhood. Ladies can join the armed forces, so you learn about sisterhood. You go through some strenuous training, which teaches you discipline and obedience, right? All right. We got those who come out of the forces who contribute their knowledge and skill and time onto the Coast Guards, National Security, TSA, NYPD, in which the continual brotherhood and sisterhood ought to elevate when you within those ranks, right? So why is it that when you learn and ought to master discipline, obedience, cleanliness, empathy, sympathy, and we can go on and on and on. Why is it that it's looking the way that it's looking in the hoods where black people or African people heavily reside throughout the entire nation of all the Americas, North, Central, and South? Typically for those, or primarily those of English tongue, that speaks the English tongue. Why is it when you go, I'm here in Brooklyn, New York. I lived in other places within America, ATL, Virginia, Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? In other places that I visited, Chicago, California. You understand me? Where wherever we are is dirty. It looks like, or it is regarded as a cesspool in 2023. Why is that? Yet, because I'm trying to do the math here, in which the census show that we represent up to 16 to 17% of America's population, those of the African descent. So why is it looking the way that it is? We're going to talk about government. We're going to talk about the political arena, which is also, of course, tied into government, which is something that you cannot get around. You cannot neglect it. You can't avoid it because it is stitched in, is woven in everything that we do. So how is it that we can have district council, mayors, and governors of each state where we heavily reside within each community, borough, proximity, providence, so on and so on? Why is it looking at why is it looking the way that it's still looking up to this very day? Where it's funny, where people talk about, yo, get your bag, get your money up, this, that, and the third. We've been getting money for a long time because African people, whether that number of being 16%, 17%, 15%, it doesn't matter. We represent a large working class. And not only a large working class, but we also represent, okay, we represent the movement of this entire globe. In essence, whenever we wear our clothes a certain way, they emulate around the world. We cook very well. Those who come from the islands, Jamaicans, Trinis, Guyanese, you understand me? We sing very well. I mean, everything we do, everything we touch, we master. Football, basketball, baseball. Come on. We can go up and down the list, y'all. Acting, rapping, singing, jazz playing, in which Harlem is the mecca for jazz here in New York City. But even out there, for those who know New York, go out there to Harlem and see what's up. For those who live in Harlem, already know what's going on because they in the thick of it, they in the belly of it. You understand me? So I'm like, yo, why is it continuing to be so dirty? Now you want to get this money, you gotta give it up for where you came from. Whether you get 10 stacks, 20 stacks, it seems that there's a continual disproportionality that is in itself being neglected, yet deteriorating our culture because we don't pay much attention to what really needs to be done. But we don't have to keep running to these governmental bodies because we have an first of all, we have a government within our own household of your father, mother, if they are in attendance, sister, brother, cousin. We have government as above, so below. It's just different degrees of it, brothers and sisters. So why is it continuing to be so dirty? Why is it that we have brothers getting flamed out, sisters flamed out, brothers and sisters drugged up, winos, solicitors, miscreants? And I'm just saying this because I want to bring awareness. I'm trying to like flip a switch in your head to show you that light. Where I'm bugging out because I'm like, yo, it don't make sense. In the armed forces, you bust your ass to get your stripes and your stars to get your ready-made jacket. For those who serve time in the streets, those of the elders, you got feathers in your hat. So we got all these things going on. Masonic bodies, theologians, gods of the earth, gods and goddesses of the earth, 5%ers, and all of this, that, and the third. It's wonderful, y'all. It's good energy to even talk about. But when it comes in the sense of fluff and flattery, you gotta step back, be humble, knowing that you practice humility and take a look to be like, yo, something's missing. There's an element. What's up? Now I know you're always gonna have the haves and the have-nots, but that doesn't mean that where you have the people who have not, in comparison to those that have in the affluent areas, you know, why do we gotta be so dirty? Let's practice and show them that those on the top. Let's show them that, yeah. Even Tupac said in his interview, why is it that we can't make where we live a paradise, a heaven? Why we can't just? There's even songs about it. The Philadelphia International All Star (MFSB) talks about clean up the clean up the ghetto. Let's clean up the ghetto. I don't think anybody ever heard that song. We got so much we got so much out of touch with the music, which is a beautiful art form that was speaking to our soul and spirit. So I'm like, yo, and it bugs me out. Now, some people gonna look at this and be like, yo, you saying what you saying, but what are you doing? I tried reaching out to city council members. I guess I got, you know what? It's not a matter of guessing. I got to go more hard. But I can see I'm calculating things out here, and I'm like, yo, I'm not the only one who got this knowledge. There are people out there who got more knowledge than me, who speak more eloquently, who speak more fluidly, with with phenomenal diction, that got knowledge. Now I know I gotta make my stamp. I gotta make my mark in this place while I'm here. Cause we all gotta give it up from where we come from. But I'm like, yo, knowing that we have the spiritual, not only the spiritual capacitance, but I believe as African descendants, we got the capacitance for whatever. Because as I say again, we are the only ones who can truly bring the highest level of heaven upon earth or that of hell because of how we are made. How, in fact, we are created. In fact, after the creation of being of the human and of a certain tribe and family, is how we are also made through our makers, mothers and fathers. How were we conceived? How were we brought up? Are you following me? So I scratched my head. Like, yo, all of this sounds good, but what is it that we're missing, y'all? What is hindering us from really claiming our hoods, our community, and reviving it, reforming it, replenishing, restoring? What is it? We got churches up and down the streets. Some blocks even got 3 churches, man. regardless of the denomination. What the hell are we missing? Many brothers and sisters of renown came and put in work for all of us. Whether you're a theologian, whether you're with the Nation of Islam, whether you're with Catholicism, Christianity, whatever, with all respect due, what the hell are we missing? Who, who or what is dictating the way we live, and why are we allowing it to be such a way? Are you following me? Sisters is looking crazy out here. In addition to myself, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said in my other videos, and I'll say it again, I don't exclude myself from anything that's going on because I'm here with y'all and we are all here together. We all family. I got work to do. I gotta beef up my chest. I gotta get my body more physically intact to look more representative of a God-like human being. Because I got knowledge. But it's the application of knowledge that really shows who you are on a high level. And I get it. I understand it. So bringing out these videos, this is just a piece of the pie. Matter of fact, this is considered to be the crumbs until I get out there more in the field to do some work and to do some gathering, do some campaigning or whatnot, and start making some effective change in the neighborhood. Now, I came up in Brownsville, New York, Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, out to East New York, which is where I served a lot of my times here upon the earth. Being that I'm in my 40s now, I'm here at the 40 mark. So I know I got to give back to those places. How about you? And how can we get together from state to state, city to city, borough to borough? We got too many affiliations with within the black community, within the African community, y'all, throughout this entire diaspora. If we can just get rid of the goddamn ego inflaming, the pride issues, we're gonna be so it's gonna be what we'll be able to accomplish in just a couple years or months time to a couple years will be extremely phenomenal. But it seems like mankind have this fight over power. We want to beat our chests and show our prowess because of what we've been through. And I don't kind of fault us sometimes, but we have to be careful and we have to temper that energy and really start to hone in on what we need to do collectively. This is why I say now I know sometimes because we're all fighting out here, going even if okay, look, if I get together with brothers from Harlem, Bronx, Staten Island, Long Island, in essence, at the end of the day, we are still we can do what we do, which will be great. I'll put that energy out there, but at the end of the day, we're still going up against these elites who got knowledge and wisdom of how this universe works in spiritual science. They got it down packed. And no matter what color you are, if you of that rank, I give you your respect. No matter what color you are, because it takes willpower, it takes integrity to keep that going. So I will never fault that. No, I can't. That just gives me something more to aspire to, aspire and inspire. They go hand in hand. So as much as I need help, you need help too, and we ought to help each other. But this is why I feel in my heart that we need to solidify our family unions. Let everything be done at home. Let's get our houses in order, African people, and know what tribe we from, and get with those tribes and do for that tribe while we're here until we make our way out. If we can't do it in this generation of ours, well then let's do our best to secure those coming up under us for them to make their way out. We can't be selfish in this movement. Fact or not, there's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing. We shouldn't be dealing with any kind of fear or guilt complex because we got life, y'all. You have a talent, you're using it. Well, let's go ahead and amp it up a little more, including myself. Yes, indeed. I never exclude myself, man. But I can't do it by myself. I could get so far, but I'm nothing without my people. I'm nothing without my family, first and foremost, just as you are. So what we gonna do? Who ready to get together? Who's ready to concede to my words and adhere to know that I come as a messenger too, to be a reminder as well that we got work to do, y'all. Drop a line. Let me know how you feel about this video. I look to be very candid. I don't want to hold nobody. But I'm already 25 minutes in, so I have to say before I close it, thank you so much for your time, man, and for tuning in. Holla at your guy, man. I ain't gonna say holla at your boy. I'm not a boy no more. I'm 40 years young. Holla at your guy. Holla at your brother. Leo Azera, man. And let's genuinely build. Fellas, don't let these ladies who we ought to have communion with and they ought to be submissive unto us in measure. We can't let our females come in between our affairs and break the whole house down. The head of man is the creator. The head of woman is the man. Men, we got work to do. James Brown and all other artists done put it out. This is a man's world. They sung about it, and it is what it is. Let's get our house in order and let's do some work. I love y'all. Peace, love, and light.